Nice. Cheers, Mark. Should pick that up on the microphone.
A nice chink. So I think we should introduce ourselves. Everyone, I think, knows me. I'm Mark from the Wayback Meditation, and
Hi all, I'm Simeon from the Wayback Meditation as well.
and Sim's someone I've known for a long time,
Yeah,
about 30 years.
it's Mark. I first clapped eyes on you in 1991 when you conscripted me to the sixth form rugby team at Danecourt. So how many years is that? That is 31 years.
31 years.
Mate, we should celebrate that.
Well, we won't do it in front of the mic because we'll make more noise. So Sim, in case you guys don't know, Sim's over in America on the East Coast.
On the East Coast, yeah, Massachusetts.
And so we don't get to meet up very often, and he's over here on other business, but he's very kindly agreed to meet up, and as good friends as well, it's always nice to meet up. But Sim's also one of the Wayback teachers, and I kind of sprung this on him, but I had the equipment on me anyway, so I said, look, if we're going to meet up, let's make a podcast. Now, for those of you listening, or if you're watching on the video, there's going to be a lot of background noise. This wasn't really a planned thing, but we thought, look, we can't waste this opportunity. It's about once a year that you're over in Blighty in England, so hopefully you can hear us clearly. And
Yeah, that should be good, shouldn't it? There's a lot of people about, but it's nice to see.
and this is completely unscripted as well, so I've got no idea.
Certainly, I mean, I was looking forward to catching up with Mark. It's great that we get to do this once a year, and it is such a beautiful day. So, Mark, thanks for making the time and catching up down in Westgate. But yeah, I had some questions and some thoughts to share, which I guess spawned some questions. But my first question, Mark, we only get to see each other once a year, and it's in person.
Yeah.
Although we catch up on the Monday night meetups, which is absolutely fantastic. My first question is, buddy, how are you as a mate and as a friend? You always look super well, and I want to make sure you are well because I don't get to ask you that question often. But you know, as a friend, first and foremost, I want to make sure that
How am I doing?
Mark is good.
Yeah, life is good. I mean, you've known me for many, many years, and you've kind of followed my journeys when I've been travelling abroad and living abroad and stuff, and back in England. I think talking just as a human being, life can be all kinds of things, and I think I've had the big houses, I've had lots of vehicles and cars, and I'm probably living the most humbly and simply, and I've got to be honest, it's fantastic. I've talked about this before, but because you've known me and you've seen me with the motorbikes and the camper vans and the Golf GT, and all the toys.
Mark is called All the Gear, No Idea.
All the gear and no idea. Something you know well. I remember going sailing with this guy, and that was definitely
No idea.
No idea what we were doing, and the fact that we made it back kind of proves that there must be something greater. No, in all honesty, life is really, really good, and as you know, people question what I do, but you know how much work is going on in the background, and I'm drawing on a lot of the skills that I learned as an IT developer and stuff, just keeping things like the website going, doing these videos and video editing and things, which I love doing. Yeah. But it's doing it for the right reason. I'm doing it hopefully to help people, and so that, just personally, I get a lot of satisfaction. And you know that behind what we're really talking about with the way back is Jesus and God, and so in a way, would I rather be back in the days earning big bucks working for corporate companies? No way. I'm so happy doing what I'm doing because I know that what I'm doing, whether people believe it, that's their choice, but I believe in what I'm doing is good and helping people. And so, health-wise,
all good.
Yeah.
So Mark, just on that point, what you do, I know you put a lot into what you do. You put a lot of effort into it. You devote all of your time to it, and I have to just say that I am very grateful for it because, I do live in Massachusetts. It's 3,500 miles away. There's a lot here that I miss and often yearn for.
And you're missed as well.
Yeah, that's good. Well, that's nice to know.
Well, you got, when you come down, you've got people that are friends and family practically.
But the Wayback group makes me feel very connected to many things, not just the UK, but to a fantastic group. And I really can't stress how important that is to me, catching up on a Monday. I really, really enjoy it. I get so much from it. It makes a big difference to my life. So I have to thank you for everything you do for that and everything that the Wayback members do. Just being present and being there for one another. It's really, really, really big.
I think if someone's listened to this on a podcast and they don't know what's this, the way back group, the members and things like this, the people that have really kind of embraced the teachings of the way back, and they're not paying money for this, it's all free. No one's twisting their arm, come and go as they please, but the people that have really embraced it, we offer a weekly catch up online called the Monday Meetup, and it's a chance for people around the world, because quite often there's people, yourself in America, people up north, people down south, people in other countries join in, and it, like I say, it keeps the family together. It's the spiritual family. What I've found, because I've eschewed so many aspects of what people call normal life, so I don't go to work for a company or anything, so I don't have that social interaction that you get from doing that kind of work. I still do a bit of freelance work, but that's very much with a small group of people. You realise how important the people you choose to have in your life are. You can't choose everyone in your life, but the people that you choose to let into your life are really, really special. And the way back is, to me, family. And your family. I've known you longer than some people. I'm older than you've known your kids only a third of the time that you've known me. So, and I think there's something really valuable in those meetups. Background noise is fine. Those meetups where you can actually talk honestly, like this, about spiritual stuff and about life with people who are on the level, on your wavelength. Because otherwise, and a lot of people who are spiritual find this, as you become more spiritually awake, maybe some of the people you've known in your life drop away because they're not on that wavelength and they don't want to be, and it creates friction. Have you found that?
Has it created friction?
Not so much friction, but you feel like you're different, or you're evolving and they're not, so there's a contrast and a change.
And everybody I have in my life at the moment I totally value, and I can certainly notice if spirituality comes up, or spiritual questions come up, or there's a discussion around something greater than what's currently physically within our present. I know it can start to alienate certain people, but maybe if I notice that, then my conversation might change. So maybe I suffer a little bit by changing the conversation and wanting to talk about something just to make sure I don't alienate somebody. But I can certainly see that the more spiritual, the more aware you become of some of this, it doesn't align with certain people. So if you want more of it in your life, you may not gravitate towards some of those people.
Well, I think
as much.
I think you touch on two important things there, because number one is compassion. So look, not everyone's interested, and that doesn't mean that we have to push them away or ignore them. So from that point of view, it's wise, I think, and kind to demonstrate compassion and say, look, if these people are in your world right now, you don't want to alienate them. You know that they might not be interested in bigger picture stuff. That's fine. But then when it comes to when you have a choice, if we take a real step back and say, well, look, everyone's just demonstrating vibration, lower vibration, higher vibration. Sometimes people are in a good mood, sometimes they're not. We have a choice about what vibrations we let into our lives, and I think that's also a demonstration of wisdom and compassion to self. So it's finding that balance, being in the world, but also what do we let into our personal world.
Yeah, definitely. So on that point, Mark, vibrations and good vibrations,
You're going to start swinging the Beach Boys.
As the Beach Boys once said, I like good vibrations. Right.
I'm resisting the singing.
Something along that line. It sort of takes me to my next question, and it's around something which I think is just fantastic. And if you go to the Wayback website, you can read all about this. Lots of important information on that website. But the 6 virtues. And every time I hear the 6 virtues, talk about them, think about them, I just feel my vibrations change. They totally do, Mark, because it grounds me every single time. It's the thing that I have as my values. They really are, right? And I wanted to ask you a question about the 6 virtues.
Okay.
But I wanted to share a little, just something. I put the 6 virtues. You had screen background, and I love to remind myself of the 6 virtues. Please don't ask me what the 6 virtues, all of them are. I know what they are in my heart, but I can't recite all of them now.
For those watching our video, they will appear magically on the screen.
There you go. Yeah. Right. But I had them on my screen at work, and whenever I was presenting or load up my computer, people would see the 6 virtues, and many people would inquire, oh, what's this, the 6 virtues? You have love on there, unconditional love, non-judgmental. It's a great way to start a meeting, by the way, if you see the 6 virtues. But a colleague and a good friend in my team was really intrigued to learn more about the 6 virtues. He took the 6 virtues home, told his wife about them, his children about them. I went round his house 2 weeks ago for a barbecue. No, his wife is an artist,
Right.
very much like your sisters, and she made a beautiful picture for the wall of the 6 virtues, and she was so excited to show me this picture.
Amazing.
Because she says, Sim, when things are getting me down and I start to maybe get angry or frustrated with life, maybe her vibrations are changing, Mark. She looks at the 6 virtues and it grounds her. It sends her to a place, and I couldn't wait. I don't know why, Mark. Why? I wanted to get back and tell you this.
Oh,
whether it was the right thing. Maybe it's a bit like the Tyson Fury book, which maybe was down the wrong road. But I was so excited to tell you about this, and I'm glad we're recording this podcast because it had a big, profound impact on her.
What's your first name?
Anna.
Anna. So Anna, thank you for drawing this picture. I'd love to see it. If someone could send me a picture of it, that'd be amazing.
I'll do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's so nice to hear it. I think, the 6 virtues, we talk about this a little bit on the website. We talk about this in some of the other videos. So if anything we say kind of goes, whoa, hang on a sec, go back to the start listening podcast number 1 or video number 1. But the way back teachings come from somewhere. It's the way back to God at the end of the day, and we're being guided. And, behind a lot of what we do is guidance from Jesus. And the moment you say that, or God, then we go into the whole religious thing. So let's knock this out of the ballpark. And I talk about it a lot in all the other videos. This is not religion. Religion doesn't own Jesus, and it doesn't own God. So what we're talking about is spirituality, truth. Find out for yourself, that kind of thing. Not believe anything, not doctrination or this book or that book. And the 6 virtues are kind of the core, or certainly a significant part of the guidance that we've been given and that we want to share. I'll put you on the spot a little bit, because if anyone wants we've got a nice desktop picture that you can get for free and put it on your desktop, and I'll put a link in the description or something like that. But because what's the next level of understanding about the 6 virtues? I know what the answer is, but I want to hear what you say.
So how do you use the 6 virtues to take you to the next level of
understanding? How do you take the 6 virtues to the next level? So say you've got them, or you've got a lovely piece of artwork and you can see these words. That's one part of the teaching. What's the other kind of big part of the teachings? I'm putting you on the spot a bit. You
are putting me on the spot, Mark. And I guess if it's aligned with the 6 virtues, then it is practicing the 6 virtues.
In relation to?
In relation to God. And to humanity, and bringing them closer together, and
self,
and yourself. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So that's
okay. So being non-judgmental, so maybe it's how you respond to certain things. Having unconditional love for yourself.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think when I read and I look at the 6 virtues and I go through them, it gives me that sense of well-being. Sim, actually, it's all right. It's all right to have that feeling, but bring yourself back. It makes me feel good, which allows me to be good with others.
Good is the root word of good is God. Godly. Good.
Yes. There you go.
So with the 6 virtues, so what I was kind of guiding you there to, and I know you know this. It's just the question, maybe caught you off guard. But so the 6 virtues are these stances or these expressions of love.
Yeah.
And they start with humility for a reason, and they end with unconditional love for a reason. People can have those in their mind, or maybe mind isn't the right word. People can have those within them and understand what these words mean. The next level is going, okay, so how do I use these? So you use them in relation to self, to others, and to God. So that's the 3 stances. So quite often when people first start embracing the virtues, they may see it towards others. That's normally the easiest way. I should be respectful of others.
Yeah.
You know, respect is a good one to kind of understand first.
Yeah.
I should be respectful of others. But you should also be respectful of self. And ultimately, behind everything that is good is God. And so, are you respectful of God, or towards God, or towards your attitude towards God? And so, when you have all three, then you're being respectful to God, respectful to others, and respectful to yourself.
Yeah.
What we talked about earlier about people's vibrations and the value of having people in your life that are spiritual is, if you take the extreme, it's always easier to understand things from an absurd extreme. So in physics they call it ad absurdum, take it to an absurd level to understand it. So if you've got someone that's really aggressive and really negative in your environment, you certainly wouldn't want them in your environment. And if that negativity was directed at you, it would be disrespectful to you to allow it.
Right.
Now, it doesn't mean that you meet it with anger and aggression, but you can choose to leave, or you can choose to be peaceful and stand for what you believe in. But so that you can demonstrate respect, but equally respect to other people. So if that person is more marginal and maybe they're just having a bad day, but they're a good person, the respect you show them might be your own stillness and compassion to help them get out of that negative state.
Yeah.
So wisdom, and I think wisdom comes into it, when to walk away, when to help, when to respect self, when to respect
Okay.
others.
So the wisdom piece can often be the difficult bit.
Yeah.
Knowing when to walk away or when to stay, because my natural instinct is wanting to help as many people as possible. And, you know, sometimes I do find that people don't want to be receptive to what I would want to try and do, or how I want to help them.
Yeah.
So knowing where the threshold is to say, do you stay or do you walk away?
So
Only you know that, I guess.
yeah, this is a really, really deep subject. Where does the desire to help come from? Because when you break it down, say you find yourself in a situation with strangers and some of them are being negative, that you're on a just random, we're on the beach here, so you're on the beach, the next people next to you, there's a bit of a situation. And from a compassion and kindness point of view, you maybe can help. Should you? Is a big question. And wisdom is to say, should I? And then to understand, why do I want to help? Is it because I know something they don't know and I want to demonstrate my knowledge? Like, well, I think that they need more compassion towards each other, therefore I want to talk to them about compassion. But they didn't ask for that help.
Yeah.
And so they'll end up resenting it, probably, and you might end up in trouble.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, the desire to help might be well-intentioned, but it might actually be coming from something similar to ego.
Right. Yeah, I could see how that would be.
I know that sounds harsh. And also, if we layer on top of the situation life lessons, karma, and all of these things, if what they're experiencing is a life lesson, then your interference is actually interfering with life's lesson.
Yeah.
If what they're experiencing is karma, again, since these things come from higher up, you'd be interfering in the natural unfolding of God's will, or the way of things. And so what I'm seeing is increasingly when people lose, what I mean by people, when spiritual humans lose the desire to teach and help, then they find that they teach and help appropriately. But when it's driven by a desire, that desire is maybe they want to feel good about themselves, or they want to like show people that they're spiritual, or show people, it's like trying to make the light shine rather than allowing it to shine.
So the word ego is really important there, Mark. You know, we're not trying to be egotistic. If anything, we're trying to be the opposite to that. Should a part of the wisdom aspect be, should you assess whether maybe your approach is egotistic, or is it coming from a place of humility and unconditional love?
So yeah, and I think this is where the word assess comes in, suggests analysis, intellect, mind type stuff.
And you're trying to get away from that.
Well, the 6 virtues, the reason we found the virtues, I don't think people know this, so the reason why we discovered the virtues, or were given them, was because we were at the time really focused on the spiritual meditation side of things, and we were asking questions: what can help people to go deeper into meditation?
Yeah.
In other words, deeper into stillness. And we were given humility. So that was the first one we were given, and so the original inquiry wasn't about how can we make ourselves better or help other people. It was how can we go more into stillness. And there's a clue in that, because the virtues ultimately bring you closer to God, and God is so neutral, accepting, loving, still, that God just accepts what's happening.
Yeah.
And when people are inspired or changed by something that's so high, it's not through action, it's through the state, it's through the stillness. So maybe wisdom is saying, don't analyse the situation. Are you still enough in yourself? Are you neutral enough in yourself? Are you being the virtues as opposed to thinking about the virtues? Because to look at someone and go, I can help them, guess what? That's judgment.
Yeah.
It is.
Yes.
Fundamentally, it's based on judgment.
Yes.
It's not accepting the situation for what it is.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you have to act if there is wrongdoing, or if there is something disrespecting you. But quite often, the action is much more passive and neutral than reacting.
Yeah.
It's making a change inside yourself.
Yeah.
I'm not going to let this person affect me.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's it. So, wonderful subject. I mean, it's so big, and we touched on life lessons in karma, and that's a huge thing. I'll put a link to a video. Because I think that's a whole aspect of things that people don't even take into account.
Yeah. And I always see the 6 virtues as being the core of the way back. Because, like you said, if you apply the 6 virtues to yourself, others, then you are applying them to God, and it then bringing you closer to God. So that was the question. Can you just explain to me how the 6 virtues would bring you closer to God? And we've just completely,
I didn't realise that was the question.
That was going to be. I was going through that first part, but that was the question. And I kind of know, but just I wanted to have that conversation with you. That was what I wanted to have a chat about, and literally it just came straight there.
The 6 virtues are amazing. So when we started the way back, there was a lot of focus on the meditative journey, and you know that because that was my background as a meditation teacher. Yeah. The 6 virtues side of it, which is much more about the soul journey, applies to everyone, whether they sit down and meditate or not. Yeah. And so it's accessible. Even to think that someone has seen something, drawn a painting, and it's changed their life is amazing.
Yeah. So then, you just mentioned meditation, Mark. 6 virtues, the way back, God. It all started. Your awareness started with meditation. I still get a lot of benefit from meditation. Mm-hmm. Do you still see meditation as being an important part of the way back meditation, or the way back? Is it? The clue is in the name.
Well, is
it still a fundamental?
Okay, so this is almost huge. I mean,
is it too big a question?
No, I'm writing some books, and I really go into this because people need to know the truth. So many people are out there meditating, or believe that they are meditating, without understanding what meditation is.
Mark, could you explain what meditation is then? Or is that too big? Because
true meditation.
Okay, right.
The true meditation. So a lot of the stuff I've literally just been doing some research into the brainwave side of things. So what a lot of people talk about meditative brainwave state, for example, is not meditation at all.
Is it not?
It's actually taking your potential down, not up. Okay. And a lot of meditative practice, even stuff that's very ancient, especially if there's a mind-orientated focus towards it, it's not what I would call meditation. People may get some benefits from it. When I say meditation, and this is something that I learned after I finished the journey, okay, which proves that you can go a long way being guided without realising that you're being guided. So when I talk about meditation, I'm talking about, number one, you've actually been initiated, and again, there are hundreds of thousands of people that use the word initiation. Whether it's actually what I'm referring to is another thing altogether. So what I mean by initiation, let's clarify that, is that you have your crown chakra open. You have to be a good human. Your crown chakra is open, and you have direct access to inner experience of God's light, not astral light, lower light, etheric light, fifth dimension light, fourth dimension light, third dimension light. There are so many things that people trip over and believe that is God's light. It's not, but there's no way of them discriminating.
Yeah.
Okay, so number one, that you've got access to God's light, and number two, then your soul, your spirit, and your consciousness together, driven by love, so you have to have a lot of love involved, are elevated by God's light into spiritual realms. And when that happens, it is not a personal based experience. So there is no self-identity, there is no body awareness, there is no kinesthetic stuff going on, because you've left all the other parts of what makes you a human are quiescent, including the mind. So it's not an intellectual thing. So there's no visualization, there's no internal dialogue, there's no manifesting through the secret or any of that kind of stuff. A lot of people heap into meditation. So that's what I mean by meditation. The direction of it is in one direction, which is to God. And that's why enlightenment is to come to God, and be filled with God's light. So I go into this in the books. Much more than is in any of the videos or podcasts, because it's such a big topic. Without the full context, people are going to be, well, if it looks like light, it must be light. No, people can trip up too easily. And so, having done that journey, the way back came afterwards, because that just opened my channels. There was something more, and this is what the true meaning of spirituality is. You don't need to sit down to be spiritual. Meditation was a gift. It hasn't actually, this potential hasn't always been. Humanity is a certain age, and again, I talk about the history of humanity. Humanity is a certain age, and if we said, well, this is the age of humanity, the ability to, so this is the past and this is the future, the ability to meditate started about here. It was done as a gift to help wake up humanity. It wasn't a necessary or an innate part. It was a gift given by God to allow humanity down here to witness God's light, so that they would be inspired to go to God and to share that with others. And something that happened 2,000 years ago, where someone came down and taught about God and love, was a big part of that unfolding. And so Jesus didn't sit people down and have them meditating. He was trying to open their hearts. And that's why, although I came from a meditation background, and when I got the domain name, I called it the Wayback Meditation, because the Wayback was taken. And the name was given to me, so it had to be the Wayback. From a marketing point of view, it's not a great name, because there's already other things using that name. But that name is far older. The way is far older than websites and domain names. So we have to respect truth, and rather than trying to compromise and shoehorn it into modern society, which is anything but. And so what I'm trying to say is, yes, the meditation played a big part up to a point. The truth is that so many people are benefiting from the virtues, from the understanding about life lessons and soul journeys and things like this, that's accessible to everyone. Not everyone's ready to sit down and meditate, and that's why I've only given the energy to a few. Even though some people hold a different philosophy and they say give it to everyone, but if you watch video 35 or podcast 35, I really talk about this. When is someone ready? What is actual spirituality? And it's a disservice to people. It's like putting a toddler in a Formula 1 car. Something bad's going to happen, or at the very least, they're not going to reach the pedals because they're not ready.
And they'll be disappointed.
So nothing will happen, and they'll just sit there going, thinking that they're on a journey. For a lot of people at this time, because there's a lot of negativity on the planet, meditation isn't a good idea.
Right.
Because when you meditate, you as a human being separate the core of what you are, your soul, spirit, and consciousness, from your light body and your aura and other parts of you, in an environment that could be potentially hostile. And so, with the people I work with, sometimes I'm saying now's not a good time to hold fire, because it doesn't. the stillness is still there, the connection is still there. And one of the things that hopefully maybe I can impress on you now is that the state, when I talk about state, so when someone's been given initiation or they've advanced to greater states and ultimately enlightenment is the greatest state, and beyond that there is God, because God can't be contained in a state. The state isn't in your physical body, it's not in your aura, it's not in your light body, it's not contained in your spirit or your soul. It's something that is greater than you, that you are now. Okay? And you're not now thinking it, talking it, you are it. And so the state, your state, because I know where you're at, is there, whether you're meditating or not. And what I'm trying to encourage people to do in preparation for spirituality, and those that are already initiated or enlightened, is to learn how to come from this state in everyday life. And that's where the virtues are so important, because the virtues, we got the first virtue because we were asking how can we be stiller to go into meditation. Then we were starting to ask, well, how can we be more receptive to guidance, to good guidance, because not all that people necessarily are getting is good. And again, the virtues, we learn more, and it really is that if you live the virtues, whether you're initiated, enlightened or not, you raise up in vibration, you become more spiritual. But it doesn't mean that you can attain enlightenment through the virtues. No. That is only done through the revelation of light, because the clue's in the name, enlightenment, to put light within. So I think it's a really good question, but people beat themselves up at the moment, and also there's potentially a lack of wisdom. Wisdom is with respect to my energy and my integrity as a being able to experience God's light and stuff, is now the right time.
To meditate. But is that then different for different people based on their states? Because is everybody in that state at the same time?
Hang on a sec. Just the screen got too hot. So we lost some video, but that's fine. So sorry, we lost the video there because it's so hot that it's cooked the camera. Yeah. But we've still got audio.
Yeah. So then on that point, Mark, around advice on what people should do. Should they meditate? Should they not? Should they embrace the sixth virtue? Should they do both? What would you advise?
Well, first of all, I try and avoid the word should.
What's best for them?
What could people do?
Yeah.
A lot of people, it really depends where they're coming from. So look, all good humans are going to benefit from a bit more stillness and from understanding things like the virtues. Now, it might be that they just need to focus on one. It might be that they just need to focus on self or others or God. Everyone's at a different place. And what I say to people is, look, I bet you if you came back to this subject in 6 months' time, having done some work, you'll get something different from it. When it comes to meditation, the people I teach, I work with, and I give them advice. And that's the responsibility and the privilege that I have as a meditation teacher. I've got guided meditates and YouTube videos where people can learn basic forms of meditation. If I was to say a generic statement, I would say that, because I do get people contacting me from other groups who've said, look, I've been meditating and now I've got pain in my brow, or I've got my third eye's really giving me a headache. And I say, well, what have you been taught? And they said, well, I've been doing this mantra and I've been focusing on my third eye. And I'm like, right, well, we don't teach that. We tell people not to go near the third eye, because actually it doesn't help in terms of higher spirituality. It's a curiosity. There's something going on there, but it's not that helpful. And we don't talk about an intense focus. Again, that's going to give you a headache. So there's practical things. So I would say, look, rather than me saying you should or shouldn't, I'd say, first of all, are you mature enough to take personal responsibility? Because if you're doing something and it's giving you a headache, why are you still doing it? Exactly. Because that's just a lack of paying attention. Okay?
But you're forcing it, aren't you?
Yeah. And so another true story, someone contacted me, I want remote initiation. I said, I don't do remote initiation, and there's a reason. I talk about, because how much work I do to prepare people. So if I've never met someone, I don't know who, then we're not going to necessarily jump straight to that journey. And so
you can't do that.
They've gone off and got remote initiation
from somebody else,
and then they've contacted me about a month later and said, well, I'm actually quite sick now. all I'd say is, look, we talked before we were just chatting and we were talking about yin and yang and duality and stuff. Actually, sorry, that was Nick. I was chatting with Nick earlier and we were talking about yin and yang and duality.
The other one.
Yeah, still in the world. We were saying, look, like I do healing for people. Yeah, and healing is good. It comes from, fundamentally, all that's good comes from God. So healing is positive energy in a very, very simple way, and it has a positive outcome. But if there's a lot of negativity in your environment and you're sitting there totally, opened up in meditation, guess what? You're not helping yourself.
No, definitely not.
So it's not that I'm going to say you should or shouldn't meditate, but just apply a bit more wisdom to the situation. Yes. The phrase I use is all that glitters isn't gold. People just need to maybe be a bit wiser, because I think one of the tropes that maybe has been a misguided idea is that everything on higher vibrations or everything in spiritually is good. True spirituality is good, and what is good that comes from God, light, love, healing, all these good things are good. But look around the world that we're in. Some people are nice, some people are not nice, and that's the nature of duality, and that's where someone sits down. So I would just say apply a little bit of wisdom rather than me saying what people should and shouldn't do.
Okay. Use your wisdom.
Use common sense. Use wisdom, and because one of the soul qualities, you talk about the soul journey evolving, one of the things that we're here to learn is good judgment. And there's the old saying, shame on them if they trip you up. Shame on you if you let them trip you up a second time. In other words, it's like we have to learn by falling. We have to learn by making mistakes. Yes. But
learn.
Once you've learned, learn it.
Do make sure you learn.
Move forwards.
That's really important, Mark. Yeah, very important indeed. So use your judgment, and as we spoke at the start, judgment can often come, or wisdom can come from the 6 virtues. Yeah,
and actually it's funny because you've got one of the virtues is non-judgment.
Yeah.
And then one of the soul qualities, or one of these things that we're here to learn, is good judgment. Yeah. So it's not saying, so people go, but you said non-judgment. Non-judgment is being neutral.
Yeah.
Good judgment is when you act.
Yeah.
What are you basing your decision on?
Yes,
so there is a difference. There is a subtle difference.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice,
Mark.
It's really hot here.
It is really hot. Yeah, I'm beading and you're not.
The camera's being killed.
There'll be a break in the video.
Yeah. Well, we apologise for that, but
Mark, it's been fantastic catching up
Sim,
and having this conversation.
A real pleasure.
I love it every time we catch up, and it's a shame I'm only here once a year.
Well, how are things in America? How are you finding things there?
Yeah, America's very good. It's treating us very well, and I have a lot of diversity in my life. I have my fantastic family. We're a great unit. I have some wonderful friends over there, but just because I have friends over there doesn't mean to say I exclude friends over here. And I have a lot of history in England. We have a lot of history, Mark. I always gravitate towards Mark and the way back, and it's fantastic that we can always do that and catch up like time hasn't passed. So it's life feels very good at the moment, Mark.
Good. Yeah. I think virtues are all the time. There are 24/7.
Absolutely.
And if that's all people get from this long conversation.
Yeah.
All right. So you've asked me some advice. What advice? Come on, because you're in a different role from me.
Yeah.
You're primarily a student. A student of the way back.
Oh yeah.
No.
Mark, I've done 3 degrees. I'm not studying that anymore. I've got the PhD. I can forget it.
Dr. Simeon.
Yes.
Dr. Simeon, you're a graduate of the University of Life. You've learned from the way back, but you're also a teacher of the way back.
Yes.
So I would hand it over to you. If I wasn't here right now and you were closing this podcast, this video, the camera's still working. Off you go.
Yeah, how would
you're on the spot now.
I'm on the spot. Yeah. So what would I take from this, and how would I help others? And
what would you say to people in closing?
In closing, I would say spirituality is a wonderful thing, and if you know there's something greater, and if you want something more in your life, and you want to feel different about life, take a look at the 6 virtues and just look at each of them, see how they make you feel, see how they change your vibrations, or just how you feel about your situation, your life, and how great they can make you feel. And if you do look at them, take a look at the Way Back Meditation website, because it's a fantastic resource, some great guidance there towards spirituality, and it's had a profound effect on my life. It makes me feel so much more rounded. It makes me feel much more included in life. That's my parting advice. Is take a look at those and just see how it makes you feel, and you'll probably want to learn more.
Yeah, and for those that want to follow Sim's advice, there's a book on the 6 virtues which you can get a free copy of on our website as a PDF. You can buy it on Amazon. It's the 6 virtues, the way back the 6 virtues, and it's not for profit, so the cost literally just covers the printing costs, nothing more. It's less than the price of a coffee. There's podcasts. If you go to the website and go to the guidance page on the 6 virtues, then you'll see a whole load of videos, articles, podcasts, even a guided meditation.
Yeah.
So there's actually a lot of support material, and it's all 100% free.
Yeah, fantastic, Mark, and I appreciate you putting it all together.
I appreciate you coming all the way here.
Nice one, Mark.
We're going to get a cold drink now because you look like you're melting.
Because I am bleeding somewhat and you're not.
Thank you, everyone.